I would feel terrible if children got targeted by any group in a negative way. You know, except for targeting them for toy sales for Transformers. You know, that's definitely not negative. That definitely isn't predatory at all. Well, now that that trauma's been talked about, and Stoff, why? Salem says, look at your model's chest. You were clearly asking for it. No! Oh, God. Suicide is gonna become a meme, and I want to commit it. Let's get into the fan art before we talk about Florida deciding it wants to do the genocide thing. Okay? Okay. Fan art section. Initiate. Wait with Waluigi decided to make an art that says, "Who are you? I'm you from the future." Cool. First came for my closeted atheist era, and now I'm coming back for my lesbian socialist era. Drew OG Slime Maid Suris finding an unknown enemy as a token of appreciation of my appreciation. Please ignore the background. Why would I wait? But the background has Hole-chan. It's wholesome. Oh my god. Raz says, I feel internally embarrassed to draw a bare titty, and Stoff is inventing new ways to do lewd. The next one we have here is from Tokiski. Tokiski. The slime cat girl has flooded my YouTube feed, and I finally caved. You know, that means YouTube's doing me a solid, and I appreciate that. Also, okay, so I like this fan art. I like this. I like Hole-chan behind. I like the idea of, like, the team-up between OG and Slime Suris. This is just adorable. Look at him. He's like a little pudding cup. He's like a little pudding cup. I just want to squish him so he doesn't start the apocalypse. Ah! Drouse just... we're in the middle of the armistice, so you know that one became an... You fucking degen. But, Azrael Hypo... I'm gonna need you to get out. I'm not saying those words. 50,001 channel points is not enough to make me say those words. I'm just gonna keep on going with the video, as normal. Look at the glasses. And everything else. It's adorable. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, God, I'm gonna regret it if I don't actually say those words, aren't I? After everything that Stoff did, no, the armistice doesn't cover it. Salem, their weapons are like chemical grade. The weapons of Olo are like chemical grade weapons. I can't, an armistice won't stop it. It's a war crime. Ugh. There, I said the word in the middle of it. It's good enough for me. Guys! Guys, real talk. These are the 10 stages of genocide. That's a segue. Sarah says that wrecks the point of an armistice. It's a war crime! War crimes do wreck the points of armistice, yes! Text of the armistice specifically says they're converted. Oh, well then I broke it. Okay, so... that's not the music that I want to be playing during this. That's not the music that needs to be playing during this at all. No. I'm not going to play the thing that I'm going to actually want to sing during it. Said previously it made it become this. Then I'm just going to have to update it. I'm just going to have to update it. So we've talked about the 10 stages of genocide. We're on topic now. Fuck off! Jesus. 10 stages of genocide. Classification. People are divided into us and them. Symbolization. People are forced to identify themselves. Discrimination. People begin to face systemic discrimination. Dehumanization. People equated with animals. Organization. The government creates specific groups to enforce the policies. Polarization. The government broadcasts propaganda to turn the populace against the group. What does Stage 7 look like? Official action to remove and relocate people. I wonder if Florida... maybe doing exactly that. Yep. Azrael says, probably would never deemed that if I knew the topic was genocide. Well, you know, I put it this way. These topics are hard enough to listen to normally. I think sometimes adding a little bit of brevity While it may take away some of the weight from some of these topics, taking away a little bit of that weight may be exactly what's required for some people to be able to stomach listening to it. It may be the exact same thing for people to be, or maybe the exact thing that people need to be able to listen to these issues at all. In some way that isn't just all doom and gloom, even if the situation very much is that. Maybe a fucked up thing to think about, but who knows? There's probably somebody in this audience, or on YouTube, who doesn't want to listen to this, but because we're covering it the way we are, this is the one way they get to. Rob, we don't know what the order is. We just arrived, so it could have been Lego for all they know. Yep. Florida Republicans defend anti-drag bill even if it means erasing a community. The bill in question is so vaguely worded it targets LGBTQ Floridians generally. So, on Wednesday, Florida Republican Randy Fine vehemently defended a bill banning anyone under the age of 18 from being able to attend a drag show. If it means erasing a community because you have to target children, then damn right we ought to do it. Let's see how you...
They're the ones that are saying this definition applies to them. Well, if it means
loading
community because you have to target definition applies to them. Well, if it means
why is it loading there? What
definition applies to them? Well, if it means community because you have to target children, then damn right we ought to do it. I just don't think you have to inherently say because you're lesbian or gay that you want to target children. I find that statement to be offensive to them.
Nobody who's lesbian or gay is targeting children because of their lesbian or gayness. Okay. While Fine didn't mention what community exactly he's in favor of erasing, the bill in question targets LGBTQ Floridians as a whole, not just drag. Fine argued the bill's language does not ban drag shows, but rather uses language specifically geared towards protecting children. His logic goes then that if opponents of the bill feel attacked, that's because they're in violation of targeting children. Well, what's the bill? Before we continue here, let's go ahead and take a look at the bill. Protection of children, prohibiting a government entity from issuing a permit or otherwise authorizing a person to conduct performance in violation of specified provisions, providing criminal penalties, authorizing the division of hotels and restaurants of the Department of Business and Professionals, to fine, suspend, or revoke the license of any public lodging establishment, public food service establishment, if the establishment admits a child to an adult live performance, specifying that the Division of Alcoholic Beverages and Tobacco, Department of Business Professional Regulation is given full power and authority to revoke and suspend the license of any person issued under the beverage law when it is determined or found by the division upon sufficient cause appearing that he or she maintains a license premises that admits a child to an adult live performance. Prohibiting a person from knowingly admitting a child to a live performance, etc. Adult live performance. What is an adult live performance? What is an adult live performance? What does that mean? Because, like, again, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that's an adult live performance. That's what that is. Said strip show? I don't fucking know. Is it a live performance that involves adults? Is it a live performance that has subject matter that is considered adult? That's very, very strangely worded. It targets pride parades and celebrations by preventing the government from issuing permits to an organization that may put on such a performance. If a violation occurs in a city like St. Petersburg, which hosts the largest pride celebration in the state, the person who issued the permit could be charged with a misdemeanor. Any establishment that violates the law would be subject to license supervision. It defines adult live performance to include any show, exhibition, or other presentation in front of a live audience that in any form depicts or simulates nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or specific sexual activities. Sexual excitement. So, like, if I were to say, oh my, is that sexual excitement? Is that what that is? The bill is concerned especially with any such conduct that is deemed patently offensive to prevailing standards in the adult community of this state as a whole with respect to what is suitable material or conduct for the age of the child present. It can be, sirs, ara, you know? Yeah. Okay. If it means erasing a community because you have to target children, then damn right we ought to do it. He didn't mention what community was exactly in favor of racing. Okay, we're back where we are now. Fine argued the bill's language does not ban drag shows, but rather uses language specifically geared towards protecting children. His logic goes then, if an opponent of the bill feels attacked, it's because they're in violation of targeting children. On its face, the bill is worded so ambiguously in its focus on the term adult life performance that it would prevent a high school kid from having the ability to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show or even the musical Hair. The bill defines adult live performance to include any show, exhibition, or other presentation in front of a live audience that depicts, simulates nudity. We already went over all that. Such as lewd conduct or lewd exposure of prosthetic or imitation genitals or breasts. It also targets Florida pride parades and celebrations by preventing the government entity from issuing permits to organizations that would put on such performances. Under the law, any establishment that violates the law would be subject to license suspension or revocation and liable to large fines and misdemeanor charges. One violation would spur a $5,000 fine. Subsequent incidences would spur $10,000 fines. The authors of the bill ostensibly are concerned with any conduct deemed patently offensive to prevailing standards in the adult community of this state as a whole with respect to the suitable material or conduct for the age of the child present. It leaves open the question of what those standards in the adult community even are, though. Stretch definition to adult live performances to just ban all adults. See how they like it. I don't like it when things are deliberately vague in legislation. I don't. And I recognize to them it's a feature, not a bug. Consequently, while Fine argues the bill's language is strictly concerned with shielding children, there's no clear understanding of what the bill is shielding them even from. Fine's idea of what is offensive may be radically different from what millions of other people think. And that does not require any special imagination to foresee radical Florida Republicans using such bills to target any range of activities related to or hosted by LGBTQ people. After all, this is the same state's party whose members have not been shy about attacking LGBTQ people. Governor Ron DeSantis stripped the Orlando Philharmonic Plaza Foundation of its liquor license for allowing children to attend a Christmas drag show, banned transgender women from playing women's sports, fired a state attorney for saying prosecutors can't criminalize personal medical decisions like abortion or transgender health care, and signed the Don't Say Gay bill, among other things. Meanwhile, other Republican lawmakers have called trans people mutants and demons, while advocating legislation to ban gender-affirming care or changing defamation law to make it easier to sue people criticizing bigotry. The bill Fine was defending has already passed the Senate and is working its way through the House, where Republicans also hold control. Fine, beyond passionately advancing anti-drag show bills, is also known for threatening to cut off Special Olympics funding for a Florida community after he wasn't invited to a Special Olympics fundraising event hosted by a city police department. While a school board member, Fine has repeatedly attacked... okay, here we go. While the school board member Fine has repeatedly attacked, was invited. He said, "I'm not going to jack shit where that whore is at," Fine said in response to a later invitation to the event. "You guys will have to raise a lot of money given who you want to honor, not the person who got you the money in the budget." What a fucking baby. Despite, or perhaps because of it all, Fine is DeSantis' leading pick to become the new president of Florida's Atlantic University, among the Florida governor's efforts to hijack the university system with his friends and donors in order to impose radical conservative policies on college campuses. So, on the one hand, I would love to be able to empathize. With Republicans who are so worried about children being negatively affected by things, whatever things those might be. I would feel terrible if children got targeted by any group in a negative way. You know, except for targeting them for toy sales for Transformers. You know, that's definitely not negative. That definitely isn't predatory at all. But I would love to be able to empathize with them on this. But I can't. Because again, we're talking about performances that are not inherently sexual. Drag performances are not inherently sexual. There are plenty of drag shows that do not have sexual content, that don't even have stripping down to anything more than what would be considered a normal standard layer of clothing when you go outside. There are, in fact, sexual shows that kids should not go to, but those have to be handled on a case-by-case basis. Doing any blanket statement just forces an entire community out of your state. And if you're forcing an entire community out of your state, well... And considering that conservatives can't tell the difference between a drag performer and somebody who's trans... Well... You know... I wonder what that might lead us to think. Flightacro says that now I 100% believe he's transphobic because a trans girl rejected him. Can you imagine the actual cucked response you'd have to have there? Just a cute girl rejects you. You find out later, cute girl was AMAB. And now you target an entire community, and now you're angry. We're not saying that's exactly what happened here. Nobody's saying that's exactly what happened here. We're just saying that he's already got a record of deliberately being an asshole after being scorned. That's all. Isn't it weird? Just think about this one for a minute. Isn't it strange that the states that consume the most trans porn also happen to be the most red states? The states that happen to have more Republican representation happen to be the states where trans porn is consumed more often than in states that are considered Democrat-controlled, or that have a Democrat majority voting populace. Isn't that weird? Isn't it strange that Republicans, by and large, have all of these weird behaviors when it comes to LGBTQ people? Do you know when male escorts get the majority of their business around CPAC? When CPAC comes to town, male escorts get tons of fucking business. Weird, that. Very, very awkward. Salem says things that are taboo go hand in hand with fetishization. Yeah, I understand that. What is CPAC? CPAC is the conservative mega convention. That is, whenever CPAC is in town, that means that Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Charlie Kirk, all of them, they're all going to be jammed into one building together. Male escorts have gone on record to point out that, hey, by the way, we get a lot of business when CPAC's in town. Conservative E3 comes into play, and suddenly everybody wants their dicks twiddled. I wonder why. By and large, conservative politicians get caught a lot watching trans porn, subscribing to OnlyFans of trans creators, and yet they write so much fucking legislation that targets them. What, are you willing to fap to their boobies, but you're not willing to support their rights to exist? Cringe. Fucking cringe. They're so ashamed that they lash out at the people they pay to get them off. It might be an entire fetish thing. It might be. If they're trying to remove their temptations, then they should go get themselves sterilized. That's the fastest way to remove those temptations. Become a eunuch. Said it'd be a shame if they were to, I don't know, leak that client list. Said even Nick Fuentes was caught watching trans porn. Yeah, because that seems to be normal for these people. The shame gets them off. Like here. Lawsuit.org. Data finds Republicans are obsessed with searching for transgender porn. Republicans love transgender porn a lot. With more than 4.7 million transgender porn-related Google searches each month, do Republicans represent those searches the most? The answer is a clear yes. In fact, the more Republican they are, the more they seem to like it. To understand the Republicans' love for transgender-related porn, we scraped daily Google search trends from June 1st to June 19th, 2022, segmented by DMA metro areas, and compared search volume to both 2020 election voting trends and public opinions about LGBT rights. The data tells a tragic tale of self-loathing closet cases, Republicans who privately get off sexually to trans folks while publicly trying to remove trans people's rights and stoking hate against them. The top 20 most transgender porn-obsessed states and metro areas: Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, Kansas, Virginia. You know, the more red your state, the more you want girls who were born dudes. That's weird. That's strange. Especially when you are going to be... I was going to make a terrible joke. The more red your state, the more you want your girls to have prostates. That was the joke I was going for. And then I realized that it could be weird. And then I realized the one I made was just as weird. And I might as well lean into it completely. I guess you know what people's secret desires are? It's just agitating. It kind of works. It kind of works. Like, why would you fetishize a group of people so thoroughly and then try to strip their rights away? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make... Texas? The lone prostate? Oh my god. I worry it's one of those jokes that, like, could easily get clipped and then somebody would cancel for it, and I don't know. Maybe I should just stop giving a shit about the Twitter left. If I've learned anything, it's that the Twitter left and the Twitter right are made of some of the most cringe fringe cases, and I should just focus on doing me and doing advocacy as best I can. And if somebody gets mad at me on the internet, fuck them. Like, if somebody wants to be like, oh no, Suris advocated for trans rights throughout the entire video, and then he said one thing, he's canceled. Okay, cool. I just don't understand the mentality. I just don't. And I don't want to say that it's like a closeted thing, because then it feels like people who are gay, people who are into, you know, queer, more queer relationships are the people who oppress the queer community the most. That would be weird. It's a strange thing to have to even try to say, because at that point you're almost victim blaming. You're blaming a community for oppressing itself. But when the data shows that, like, the people who consume content from a community tend to be the ones that oppress that community the most, I don't know how to feel about that. And so speaking of Twitter, they removed protection for trans users yesterday. Yup. Flighted Crow says the only people I oppress are the bottoms. Flighted Crow, it's not oppression. The bottoms want it. The bottoms want it. Like, the friggin' data literally shows the more you hate a group, the more you search porn of that group. Political leaning is an interesting way to understand the trends with this data. We wanted to better compare search volume data with direct local estimations of prejudice. Jesus Christ, they were full on. There's a lot of methodology involved in this. Yeah, like white racists consuming black porn or interracial porn, or people who are homophobic consuming gay porn and hiring gay male escorts, people who are anti-trans and freak out about them the most consuming trans porn. Like, it's weird that we keep finding that again and again and again. It's a bunch of people who have no reason to hate, but then just do it. Said the internal contrast must give quite the climax. I think they get off to shame. I think it's what it is. I think Republican lawmakers get off to shame. But this is where I gotta throw it back to you guys. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about all this. It's insane that this is the state of politics in the United States right now. And I just don't know how to feel about it. As always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here.